Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of the Irish Wrestling Podcast. This is night 2 of our Scrappermania preview, joined by Colin. Mark and Foxy may or may not be on the way. They
They're
never tell us
jobbers.
that they're not.
They're fucking jobbers.
They're running in late as usual. Colin and myself will be here to preview it. Colin and Mark had a preview show last night, if anybody watched it, for night 2 in Wolverhampton. How did that go, Colin, before we get into the Dublin show?
Yeah, went really well. Some good interaction in the chat as well. A few people coming in with some outlandish opinions, as Mark was calling some of them. Particularly Martin from the 5 Marks. But yeah, no, it went really well. I really think that we hit something with it, like splitting up into the 3 shows, because I know that we were talking ourselves last week about just doing one show. And then would we be doing a disservice to one of the other shows? Because obviously the focus would have been on the Dublin show.
Of course.
But there is 2 other big shows. Like as Mark said last night, Wolverhampton, probably on paper as an in-ring product, is probably the best card of the weekend. As where storyline comes in, Dublin is probably a better card. Then the opportunity card seems to be the Belfast card, where we're going to see a couple of potential breakout stars and people getting some opportunities that they really, really deserve, which we spoke about last night as well. Like people like Luke Frettel and someone like even a vet like Terry Thatcher, who isn't on the other cards, So there's something for everybody on each different card, has its own different thing going for it. So I think like doing 3 different shows, I think was the right way to go about it.
Yeah. What up, everybody in the chat? Alex Uranus is back in the chat. I think he was there last night, was he?
He was indeed, yeah.
He's not going to give us his real name, just going to talk a lot of shit out of Uranus. Before we get into the Dublin show, this Thursday was just announced there that they have a discount code for anybody who is planning on going to the comedy show or who hasn't gotten their tickets yet. They have just released a discount code today, which is, Colin, you have the details?
For the discount, I do not, but I will get it now.
Yeah, I have it. It's running across the bottom of the screen as we speak now. So, Nic Nemeth, Owen Colgan, Dan Barry, Tony Cantwell, and Kate Moynihan, and it'll also be hosted by Dwayne Dugan. If anybody knows who Dwayne is, he helped Luke Barry write that song for Zack Ryder.
Some fucking jobber from Cork.
He's a very successful stand-up comedian now. Go on, boy. All right, kid.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself, Dwayne. If you've gone to any comedy festival over the last 2 years in Ireland, Dwayne was sure to be on it. I haven't seen him live yet. I don't know how I keep missing him, considering the amount of comedy that I go to, but I have seen his clips and he's very good.
He'll be a good MC for that show. So discount code anyway, 20% off the tickets for whatever remaining tickets left. OTT Comedy, all in block capitals.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know how this show is not sold out yet. Like this is obviously the last push for the last few tickets to get sold.
Yeah.
Like that lineup is fucking ridiculous. Like from a wrestling fan's perspective, to have Nic Nemeth and Dan Barry, who are 2 legitimate comedians who have been doing comedy for 10 plus years, all over America, for them to be on the show, but then also to have like fucking Buzz from the Hardy Books, Owen Colgan, is ridiculous. Tony Cantwell, if anyone's seen what was it called? Last One Laughing on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant in that as well. And he's been all over the TV recently on this new ad that he's doing. I don't even know what the ad is for.
He has his own podcast. It's one of the most successful podcasts in the country as well. Like, so
yeah. And then for anyone who's been around as well, might have seen Kate Moynihan at the shows. She has been training with the School of Irish Wrestling for the last couple of years. So like it's a fucking great lineup. I genuinely, as a comedy fan myself, I don't know how it's not sold out yet. But it's like other people's losses, some people's gains. So I highly recommend getting your tickets for this. Don't miss what's sure to be a great night. Including like we have a presser at it as well. And
what's going on there?
God knows.
They haven't announced what's happening at the presser.
No, they've said fuck all. It's been kept really hush. I'm very intrigued.
Is it happening? I presume it's happening after the comedy show, right? Or is it before?
I guess before or after, maybe during an interval. I don't know. I genuinely have no idea, but I'm really looking forward to what it's going to entail, because it's either going to be brilliant or it's going to be an absolute fucking car crash.
It
So
may be fun. It may end up being funnier than the comedy show if Barry gets on the mic and starts abusing the crap out of Sammy.
quite possibly wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But yeah, really looking forward to that. It's obviously going to add into what is to take place then the weekend. So
Yeah.
and like that as well. Like it's probably not recorded. People don't usually like record comedy shows.
Yeah, Alex was asking in the chat if it's going to be on demand. It's not. It definitely won't be on OTT on demand.
The thing is with comedy shows as well is these comedians come in, they do their set. So if it's recorded, then it's giving away their set, and they might be going and doing that same set in 100 other places over the next year.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't like it's standard at any comedy show that you don't like. You're not allowed to record at any comedy shows because for that specific reason. And they ask you, don't tell your mates what was said. Tell them it was brilliant, or tell them it was shit, but don't tell them actually what was said on the show.
Which is strange this day and age when everybody records everything and it goes up on social media. You know, literally 10 minutes later, and everybody gets to see it. So there's no reason for you to hang around and wait for it to come out on a demand or whatever. Like so, doubtful it will be. Claire, I don't think you'll get the 20% back on the ticket you've already got though. You can ask them at the door and see what happens. Oh look, there he is.
There's me. I'm at the door. Who's at the door? Who are you asking?
I don't know who you are.
Right.
You're right on time. We haven't got into the show yet. We're just talking about the comedy night, and they've just announced a 20% discount code for the remaining tickets.
Hang on. What are you eating?
He's getting his protein in.
What are you eating?
Chicken.
Turkey burger.
I probably could have guessed, but I love the way he just shows me the fork as well. Like he doesn't tell me. He just like
vegetables.
Did you know?
They look Scottish, like good veg, in fairness.
Scottish people can't say turkey burger, Mark. Did you not know that?
Why?
Try and say it with a Scottish accent.
Turkey burger.
Why is there an L in there?
Scottish people can't say turkey burger. It's a common fact.
No, it's not.
It is now. Everybody in the chat.
How are you? How was Liz's birthday?
Liz's birthday was brilliant. We went to a rage room in Cork on Sunday, and she beat the crap out of a load of stuff with a baseball bat and a sledgehammer, which is brilliant.
It was brilliant. Love to do it.
That's a well thought out activity from Jerry.
Liz loved it.
Were you scared?
No, I was in the room behind the cage away. She was in there.
But did it not scare you at all?
No.
See the aggression come out?
An image in my head.
That could have been me. Like
I asked a few times if she was picturing anybody specifically, and I was recording it so she wouldn't give anything away.
I've got an image of Liz going hell for leather. Use the background.
I was recording it. You can watch it. I'll show it to you on Saturday. It was fucking hilarious.
That's a great present.
Yeah, we also went to the mini golf course as well. That she beat the crap out of me in that too.
Great.
Oh shit.
Right. So what's the
So we're going to start off. I announced this. I put it out on the OTT Irish Wrestling Fans page on Facebook. For the Team Barry, we're going to give away a T-shirt of someone's choosing on Saturday. It has to be on sale at Scrappermania, so you can't just pick a T-shirt online and expect it to buy it for you. So any T-shirts that are on sale on Saturday, pick one T-shirt, and whoever gets the winner or whoever wins is the person whoever picks whoever's going to be on Team Barry. So if they correctly predict his three teammates for Saturday's match. No, you might already know. You're in Joe's ear.
Absolutely know nothing. Are you mad? He tell you nothing. No one tell you anything. Like
Joe doesn't appear during daylight hours. He's a fucking vampire. Fucking Voldemort heading him.
Claire says she wants the lads from the flats new one. That means like I'm presuming she thinks she's going to win now as well.
Well, she'll have to give us her answer. So it is the draw against Team Barry. We're going to preview that first of all because we're presuming that may kick off the show because there's a lot going to happen in between to get them ready for the main event. Whoever ends up winning it. But lads, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to be on Team Barry, and who do you think is going to win?
I'll kick off. I have done a little bit of thinking about it. There's a couple of different routes to go. Who you think it's going to be, or who you actually want it to be, or will we get a crossover of a bit of both?
No.
For me, I think Angel Cruz is too obvious. I'd say
Too obvious, do you think?
Justy as well. Well, I think it's going to be him because it's too obvious.
Okay.
Justy as well. It's the third one now that is a bit of a wild card now. Now I'm not saying that like if it's not Angel Cruz and it's not Justy, I'll probably be surprised. Like but like a fantasy booking, and it would be fucking wild, and I cannot see it happening ever for the life of me. But MJF is this side of the pond. He's a previous tag team partner of Be Cool as well. For people who don't know,
yeah, that's correct.
So my Mark's thinking there now. Yeah, they tagged together at a show. I think it was a WrestleRama 2 or something.
WrestleRama 2, yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah. Don't do that Justy Jitsu shit, or none of that Justy Jitsu shit was the line that you're using. But yeah, listen, I don't think it's actually going to happen, but like I'd love it to. But in lack of having a third person, that's what I'll go with.
Uranus is he's gone in for Omari as the third person along with Justin Angel Cruz.
I think it's going to be you've got Angel Cruz, Justy. I think you've got two options. You're either going to do it like the draw come out, and Jay's going to come out with the draw, but then suddenly he's announced as the other member for Barry's team.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Or you're going to have Joe Cabray.
Yeah, Joe is a possibility.
If you're thinking like story machinations, long-winded 2-year odyssey, that's kind of they're the characters that have been throughout the thread. And Joe loves to book himself in high-profile matches, being the booker and all that.
It's not only main events, though. I thought, no.
Yeah, well, listen, you never know. You might swing things and turn on Barry at the end of the show. Listen, there's a Belfast event. I respect you, Booker man, says Brian Pillman. I reckon it'll be they'll do 3. It'll be 4 on 3, and then later on Jay will do something.
Okay.
That's what I mean, gun to my head, I think it's Jay. But if it's not Jay, it'll be Joe.
Yeah.
I think that just narratively, I think those are the kind of way to go. I'm not sure there's anybody else that would make sense either. I think you could do something to pop the crowd, like again, like an MJF, if he happened to be available. If he is available, forget your story. Bring him in for that if he's willing to do that.
The reason why I don't think it would ever happen is it'd be such a waste of an appearance for him as well. I get that would be a massive pop in the match, but like surely, like if you have MJF on your show, you're not using him, and that's.
And he'd have to be very anti-Irish or pro-American, anti-everybody but American character at the minute as well. And it's got to fit. Given that they're 2 or 3 weeks out from All In as well, it's got to be feeding into that character narrative where it's going to be anti-Osprey type stuff. So
my prediction was similar to Mark's. I was thinking Jay would, maybe there'll be a double turn where Joe is part of Team Barry and Jay's the draw, and they both flip teams in the middle of the match or something. But
never let you book anything.
This is fantasy booking. Anything can happen.
Right.
So that's why it's called a fantasy.
I do think that I think we're probably in agreement that like Jay and Joe are the kind of the natural pivot points of that inflection of that story.
Saying there, MJF wouldn't make sense because he's heel. If you're not aware, the last time he was over, he was heel as well, and they did the whole heel facey comedy funny shit, there was a lot of stuff going on, be very interesting.
So who's winning it though? Is Barry and Trent the match, or is it Trent and Sammy, or is there a triple threat? Or
I can really see it going either way, to be quite honest. I think they'll probably go with, my opinion would be that Barry's going to win the match and then win the championship on the night. And we'll get into a bit more the main event further on. But if Sammy's team and the draw did win it, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest as well, because I can potentially see it being ran back, and I think it would be more emphatic for someone like Barry to have a pitfall here and maybe run it back against Sam if Sam was to go on and win the championship. I think that would be a great way to go, and I think it carries on the probably the best story in the country at the moment, and that's running is the Barry and Sam story. So like the potential is there to carry it on and not kill it yet.
Has the motto of people saying Barry wasn't good enough to be main event, has that passed? Have people gotten on board with Barry now? Because when he won the Rumble, people
still don't think so. No.
Who else is there? Like, I mean, if people are saying that, like, ask them to engage their brains. Like, who else is there to take his place that's readily available in the country?
Absolutely,
absolutely.
As a performer, as well as be able to do absolutely everything is needed.
But I do feel that people aren't sold yet as well, because I know that we kind of talked about it last night, Mark. I expected, and I think everyone kind of expected to be Barry a little bit further on, to be a bit more serious by now. And I thought that the Mox match was the start of that, and then we were going to see maybe a little bit of an emphatic run from that match, and we haven't gotten that. So I think that part of it still people aren't sold on. But as a performer and a character and an all-round wrestler, I think, like he's the man to be there.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody's on board with Barry being in the main event, and
for me, I think it's a lift and shift, like kind of Brian Danielson or WrestleMania 30 type idea that they're kind of using to further build his credibility and overcoming the underdog in the same manner they did with the Loco Rumble. Joe coming in as the dastardly heel, and it kind of really going above and beyond to really get him over in the eyes of the audience, giving him every bell and whistle possible, in the hope or the expectation that he kind of overcomes all these odds in the main event later in the night. But yeah, I don't think anything other than a Barry win would make sense narratively, based on everything that's come beforehand.
Well, as I say, we'll see what happens. Hopefully that is what happens. Next up, we have this Social Elite against the Freshnas for the tag team titles. A long time coming for the Freshnas. What's our thoughts on this and the build up to it, and outcome overall? What's your predictions?
1 year too late. I think they could have pulled the trigger on this a year or two ago. I think before they went into the Los Mupadores type stuff, they were really, really hot, particularly after that initial Wolverhampton run where they're doing huge matches of subculture. I think they're not in the same vein. Well, maybe they are, but I think they could have been tag champions far earlier than this, and they're kind of a standing still point for a number of months or years doing the kind of Los Mupadores nonsense. I know Colin's got strong views and kind of their activity of late. I think by default you'd assume they have to win, given that they haven't pulled the trigger on them yet. But do you need to at this stage? That'd be my view.
What do you think of the run that the Social Elite have been on? Have they deserved to have that long title reign?
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, what else? What's your alternative to a degree? Like, it's the kind of draw has been so singularly focused on their kind of narrative angle, and like obviously Adam Maxted's kind of coming and going. Charlie Sterling's been injured, so that kind of tag team dynamic's been shifted as well. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what your alternative is as well. Like, I mean, obviously Fabio and Martin a year and a bit ago were on that kind of tag team title chase.
Yeah.
Kind of the underdog, the plucky underdog, kind of really chasing it hard and hard. It seemed like all the world that they were going to win it a year or two ago, but they didn't. So, and then they've kind of again gone into the kind of circular, repetitive cycle since then, doing kind of just non-plus matches. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not really pushed either way, to be honest. I think whereas before I need to have been really excited for them to win it. Whereas I'm not quite as excited I would have been a year or two ago, personally.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I think the Freshnas, I can't remember when they had that big championship match. It was after they beat Subculture that time. Was it this time last year? Was it even the anniversary before that? Whenever it was, but I think that was the moment. And yeah, I think the glamour of that has kind of worn off a little bit. I don't think that the resurgence of the Freshnas coming out of Los Mupadores has been as emphatic as expected. I personally didn't get the J Money angle just all of a sudden popping back up. at the drop of a hat, considering what he did to them, and that it was just like, oh, it's grand, all is forgiven kind of thing. It just, I don't know, it just didn't kind of land with me, and I'm not sure if the last time it was like they can't do it and they're after getting to the dance and now they're going to overcome, where now it's like, well, they've been here before and they're probably just going to get it now, you know. So I don't know, it just doesn't feel like as big of a run. But from the Social Elite standpoint, I think that they've been phenomenal as a tag team. I think they've been working really well all over the country, regardless of where they've been. I think they hold themselves in really high regard. I think they work really well. I like seeing a rejuvenated Maxer, a Maxer that we probably haven't seen in a number of years, that we're seeing come out in the tag team, and Matthew Bullet Smith just going from strength to strength. He just continues to get better and better and better. I remember seeing him in some of his earlier matches, and I'm not saying he was bad, but like, you see him leveling up every few months, and adding these new move sets in and trying new things and getting a bit more risky and adventurous, and they're gelling so well together. I really think that they're like, I was really surprised that they didn't win our tag team of the year in our awards as well. Like, nothing against BDE, but I think the Social Elite were better than them last year, but I don't know who comes out on top. I'm not, again, I'm like Mark, I'm not really bothered either way. I don't really have a preference. I do think the only thing is that the Social Elite have had it for a good while, and maybe it's time for them to let someone else.
It's been over 250 days or something, is it, or something? By the time Scrapper comes around, so it is a great run. Like, you know, I'm not sure what the record is for the OTT tag titles, or if they are record breakers, besides maybe British Strong Style stealing them and going off the NXT.
But they had them for about 4 years, like, so. If you include COVID as well. So
Claire's telling you to get off the fence, Colin, and pick something. And Martin from the 5 Marks is in saying that someone mentioned the best tag team in Ireland. The team is going to put down the Muppets, Fabio and Martin. So I'm presuming he's hoping the Social Elite win after chopping per Martin Steers during the week. 5 Marks, leave him alone. Trying to get into a good match.
Well, this Martin can't count. There's 3 marks. So okay, a bit awkward if he's making judgment.
Uranus is in the chat as well. He's saying the Freshnas, but considering the anniversary show is so close, I see a title change. There's Social Elite retain here. Not really sure what's happening with the anniversary.
I would go with Social Elite personally. I think the Freshnas need to go on and need to be built up somehow again. Personally, I just think that as a momentum, is if you're watching this product from overseas and you're not watching Irish wrestling as domestically as we do, not going to Fight Factory, not going to Hard Knocks, RCW, you're not as familiar with these people. So all you're seeing is Martin Steers and Fabio being presented as Los Muppetores, these kind of interchanging angles, as we mentioned earlier with Jay Money, don't necessarily make a huge amount of sense. Build all the momentum in the world to get to this tag title match point, and then suddenly don't win, and then they kind of go on installing holding pattern for years on end. And then suddenly they're back into this position, and you're supposed to be at the same level of excitement and build for them when there actually hasn't been. So I think they hopefully will do some sort of angle around this, whereby there's the Social Elite win, but then there's heat on them, and there's a willingness from the crowd then to get behind Martin, get behind Fabio again, so they can go on the chase, they can go on the build, so they build towards the next big event, the next big stadium show potentially, where they try to go for the titles again. Then that's what I would personally hope. And again, we're in the weeds of this, obviously, being we're the 3 marks of Irish wrestling, and we can count.
I potentially want to see them split though as well.
Okay.
Social Elite or
Freshnas. I think the Social Elite are good as a unit, and I think I'm not going to say Matthew's new because he's far from it. Like, but he's relatively new to in-ring activity, although he's been around for a fair while, and just didn't get the opportunity until the Social League came about. But I think that they work so well together. I think that that's only doing wonders for someone like Matthew, and Max are bringing them back to probably bringing him down a bit, making him a bit more youthful and bringing him back to his heyday, you know. But for the Freshnas, I just think that the two guys are very strong as individuals as well.
Yeah.
I do think that they're both very gifted, talented individuals and could really add something to OTT as singles as well. So it wouldn't.
I mean, if they do split up, I hope Josh or somebody sits down with them and tells them how to eat food.
It wouldn't surprise me if we see a someone turning on someone else here as well. Like, and I think this would be the place to do it on the big stage. It's very emphatic. And
would we see another tag team related to the word fresh pop up then? Several different fresh iterations across the country.
Yeah, there's a few of them. All right, but yeah, potentially.
A match that will be fresh, and it'll probably be fresh in everybody's mind once it happens, is Speedball Mike Bailey against Robbie X. Now, this, correct me if I'm wrong, is this a money match? Has this been confirmed as a money match?
Yeah. But what does that mean?
Previous times they've had money matches where there's so much money in a bag, and whoever half the crowd cheer for Robbie X, another half cheer for.
So we were discussing this last night. We weren't quite sure what it necessarily meant.
Yeah, they've done it a couple of different ways. So they did it where like people got like
obviously they have
a raffle ticket or something, and someone one person of the winning team would win the whole lot, and then there's other ones where they threw out balls that had like 10s and 20s strapped to them and stuff. Yeah. So it's a good gimmick for a match that might need the crowd to come up, which I don't think this match needs it.
No, definitely not.
So it's very strange because
it's probably more just to have people cheering.
I think the crowd's going to be electric. Like within the first 60 seconds of this match, there's probably going to be about 5 flips that the crowd is going to automatically just come up for. And anyway,
it wasn't that Robbie X and Leon Slater in WrestleRama. They had it in the red car that time, wasn't it? That was a money match, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was Robbie X. This is his second time having a money match, so he knows what they expect. But if it is that way, if that's the way they're going down it,
yeah.
Is there anybody really need to win this match? Is there anybody that you think deserves?
Robbie X needs to get beaten the shit out of for minutes on end and really sell and emote to the crowd and do something different and make me believe in him, make me want to see him come from underneath and make me want to believe in him. That's we went on a big tangent last night about like Robbie X and how incredible he is at his like at being Robbie X. But if there's talents across the UK, they're getting looked in internationally, so many different promotions because they got something different. They're able to portray emotions. They're able to portray struggle. They're able to portray fire. Whereas Robbie X, a lot of the time, it's a Robbie X match, and it's going to be 100 miles an hour, and nothing between here really connects. It's all about what he's doing with his body. That's what I want to see. And Mike Bailey can beat the piss out of people, and I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and I mean, this is building towards a big comeback from Robbie X or whatnot, but do something different so it's not just a TNA X Division match.
Yeah, but is it going to be like that? That's where it's going to go. It's more like could be like an audition for Robbie X against Mike Bailey, and you know, if he's ever going to get signed to a bigger company, like he has to, you know, show what he can do against people like Mike Bailey. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw what he did against Mustafa Ali in Rev Pro at the start of the year, which was a phenomenal match. People really started talking about him, but again, like you said, nobody knows who he is as a character. Mm-hmm. What he's made of outside the ring. I don't really hear him cut promos or ever see any video packages of him about him, you know, his upbringings or where he started off from and what made him, you know, what makes him tick.
He used to have hair.
Did he? I've never seen him with hair.
Yeah, he used to have hair. Then he went bald. It was starting to recede.
What age is he? He's not that old, is he?
He's in his 20s, isn't he?
He's been around a while. I'd say he's late 20s, early 30s. Like he's not new. Like he's far from new. Like if you actually go and look, you'll see some old pictures of him with, as I said, with hair.
But anyway, so to that effect, the fact that he's been around a while, he's got to be more than just backflip against the rope, coming back into another cartwheel, that kind of stuff. It's got to be do something more than a 450 splash. It's got to do something where you believe in him and you want to get behind him and you want to see him achieve. So yeah,
Scott McKenna's in the chat, and he said it's going to be a flippy match. So keep it simple, lower those expectations, Mark. You're not going to get anything
shut
else.
the fuck up, Scott McKenna.
I did say I did say to Mark last night as well that like maybe it is a case that like he gets pigeonholed into these matches because of how good he is at doing like the flippy shit as they call it, and that the promoters keep booking him in those types of matches and like say, no, we don't want you to sell for 5 minutes and we don't want you to fight from the bottom. Just go out there and fucking heat up the crowd, like, you know. So
we were talking about Jake Dallas last night and like other talents that go out of their way to do things before their matches to build the hype.
Yeah.
They can be taken more seriously so that when you go into a match, there's a natural heat, there's a natural expectation. And like that maybe not his thing, but it's something he could challenge yourself to kind of be taken more seriously so that promoters have no option but then to put you in different types of matches. So like, I mean, it's like anything. You're an independent talent, you're an independent contractor, whatever the phraseology is as a independent wrestler these days. There's so much that's within your grasp. There's so many things that within your control, and like, who am I to critique somebody and criticize somebody that does this for a living? Whereas we're just sitting here, fucking three clowns sitting on a stream. But you kind of look at it like you're like, well, if he wants to move away from that pigeonholed into that expectations of the crowd, what's he doing at his end to be taken more seriously? Do you know what I mean? Even if it's on a really small level independent show, is he coming in with an angle and beating the shit out of somebody with a chair? So for all we know, he's pitching this type of thing week in, week out. So we're assuming things.
Yeah. Urena said there he's 29 and there he's expecting the match to be a match of the year contender. It'll be high energy, it'll be fast paced. It's like, but there's no story behind it. Like, it
depends on how you rate your matches. Like, to be fair, like if you like a lot of spots in a match, like, and a lot of oh shit moments, then yeah, you're probably going to get it. But like the one thing that you're probably not going to get is you're probably not going to get a progressive story throughout the match. You're probably not going to get, as Mark said, someone fighting from underneath, someone having to battle back and overcome a beating that they're taking, and even if they win or lose, but to come back and nearly get it or to eventually get it, you know, which those match of the year contenders usually have. So I don't think that like it will be well up there. It's definitely going to be exciting as fuck, and it's going to be fire, and I can guarantee that the majority of the crowd, including myself, will be off their feet for it. And absolutely probably standing ovations all around at the end of it. But when it comes to telling that story that every match of the year needs to have, I don't think we're going to see it in this. I do envision this potentially going on first. It's the perfect stadium opener. Joe seems has tended gone with these fast paced matches. Now it was usually the multi-mans. The multi-man that's on this show though, I don't see the pace in it. So I don't know if that one will go on first. Where this is the type of match that will have that. Just that in the multi-man we have Ilja, Santos, Dereiss, and Dan Barry, and I don't think it'll have the high intensity that this match will have, you know. So
look at that. What an editor here, getting the graphic up immediately. Oh wow.
Just in case you didn't know what they look like when you're coming to the show. We'll talk about that. Claire, before we get into that match, Claire said the Krabby's cream eggs with cash stuck to them was the money match she's looking for.
Joe Cadbury cream eggs.
Joe Cadbury. Anyway, so that multi-man match, it is for the GM title, right? Has it been advertised for the GM title?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The GM title that was stolen, that our good friend Declan has a problem with, because Celine never actually lost the title. She just had to give it up because she got a gun pointed at her.
I mean, listen, no, that's as good a reason as any to give up a title.
Was she on her shoulders for 3 seconds?
I have been held at gunpoint myself, and I handed over my wallet and phone immediately. So I've known that you have. You're from the back hours of Donegal. You're probably held up once a week, like. No, you.
But I've been held up twice, but I've held up people more than that. So
you can't say that.
I can't.
I can.
Edit that.
Yeah, we can't. We're live. We can't edit fuck all. This is not justice at all. Like, we're live, man. So this match, presuming it's just going to be a hard hitting, big man slapping man meat kind of match, is it?
Some of them are big though. Some aren't big.
I'd like to see, because I know we can do it, and we haven't seen it. I'd like to see Santos show off some of his athletic stuff. I just go back to looking at progress that we've seen with Mike D. Now, I don't think that Santos is on the level of Mike D with the stuff that Mike D can do, but I know he can do some really athletic shit that people would be really surprised about. I'd like to see some of that come out in this match, because we haven't seen it from him. He's had those big strongman matches, but I think if he went up and did like a springboard moonsault, I think people would be very surprised by it, So it might be the place to whip out a couple of those moves. I don't know. It's a very strange contingent that's in the match. Like Dereiss, I can see him being a champion, but I don't think this is the championship for him. Dan Barry, he's not here enough, and I can't envision him being brought back over too often outside of the stadium. I can't see him winning it.
Is there room for anybody else going into this? Adding more people?
Absolutely.
Newton.
Listen, it's something that we spoke about last night. That there are a few of these matches that there is potential for more people to be added into. And
that match, right? Like, why wouldn't you just announce Cian Noonan or somebody's already in it then? Do you mean, like, what's the point in, like? I don't see the value in not having them announced for this match.
It always leaves a couple of surprises, so it's not.
I mean, they're all going to be in the ring like, sorry, there's a fifth man, and Dennis is going to pop.
That's what happened last year.
They've done it. Limo did it last year. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon at all.
That might him.
Scott says nobody cares about the belt anyway, so.
Like maybe it's just on the wrong. It's been on the wrong people, and it's been utilized the wrong way, and maybe this could be the start of like someone holding it and starting to care about it. Like,
I'm presuming Celine's not going to be added to it anyway, so doubtful.
I'd highly doubt it.
Yeah. And they're not doing the 24/7 rule ananymore, right? That's not.
That was a one night only thing. Was
it? Was it?
Yeah.
Did they not do that in whenever over in France?
24/7 for 24 hours only. All right, okay. 24/1 rule. All right, okay.
There's only 23 and a half hours. They had to go to bed.
Okay.
But like for me, I think Santos winning or Ilja retaining is the.
I think that'd be an excuse for Joe to keep bringing Santos back, given that he's doing stuff with Rev Pro and Dave Francisco and other people now as well.
Yeah. In fairness, like he's starting to get noticed over there as well. Like, so fair play to him. Like, it'd be nice to see him holding gold, even for one show and losing it the next show, whatever. Like, the pop will be good for him. There's a lot of people behind him.
Are there?
There is.
There's about 4 people who dance in the crowd.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Look like idiots.
Rory, Eamon, who else? 2 more.
Scott in the chat.
I thought the Trent 7 Army. They were behind him.
Clown Jerry. We'll call Jerry the 4th clown, right?
Hey, there's 3 of us here already.
Yeah.
Speaking of 3 of us, there's 3 other clowns. BDE are facing the lads from the Flats. Mark's favorite tag team, favorite trios, favorite faction, whatever you want to call them. Mark, I'll let you go first in this one. I know you.
Which ones are his favorite?
The lads from the Flats, obviously.
Yeah, like I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure they'll do the classic entrance to get people up. Having the 2 lads come back. BDE will do the toilet paper shtick. Hopefully not. It's kind of died a death at this stage. It bored me to death. I think what they do in ring is brilliant. I'm a huge fan of all 3 participants in that, so I hope for a BDE win.
Colin?
I think it's been the culmination of something that potentially could have been a lot bigger. I do like that Limo is kind of getting a bit of a showcase because he has been up in his game a lot recently. So it's good that he's actually he's not just added to a match here, and he kind of has a bit more substance going into it. I think it's like lads from the Flats win. BDE.
You think so?
Yeah, BDE get their comeuppance. Yeah, it's one of those, like, it doesn't matter. The winner here really doesn't matter. Like, BDE losing doesn't change anything for them.
So I looked at it just in terms of, like, Limo's the only person who's going to be appearing regularly going forward, so it doesn't necessarily make sense for them.
Yeah, I think it's the nostalgia feel as well, though, having the two lads back. Like, they were a massive part of OTT for a good, like.
But does that mean you need to win, though?
So, no, absolutely not. They don't need to win in any way. But I think BDE just eating shit, I think, just makes more sense for them to get that comeuppance that they've been hankering for a while, like, that they haven't got yet, and this could be the one. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some shenanigans in this match as well.
Do they still have the dog?
That's the whole thing running into it, that they have the dog. Yeah, you
don't mess with a man's dog, like, and
don't fuck with the dog. Don't fuck.
So what do you do? So say, like, the lads in the flats win, and then the two boys in the flats fuck off back to the flats. Does the BD beat Pitstead or Limo then from Ashburn the next day, or what?
I'd like to see it be a bit of a the start of something for Limo, to be honest. I think the crowd have been getting behind them a lot lately. The last few months, he's just been really hot with the crowd when he's coming out, like, and he's pretty over. So I think this could be like get one over on the lads, and then maybe move on to something else.
Oh wow, look at this, Jerry. Jeez, fair play.
Good enough to model some merchandise. Look at that merchandise. You can get that on Saturday as well. Like, make sure you get the OTT jersey and modeled superbly by Limo.
I'll get those shorts, actually. Why is it
shorts?
Yeah, nice pair of shorts.
Yeah.
It's very sweaty here at the minute, so I wouldn't mind another pair of shorts.
Are you wearing something underneath the camera?
Anyway, Scott McKenna says, "Cheer up, Mark, for fuck's sake." Sorry, Scott.
Too busy getting the protein into him, Scott.
Yes, get the turkey burgers.
They're finished. Yeah,
anyway, next up we have Renzo Rose against Danhausen. This is for the title, right?
It has been, yeah. It's
for
been
the NLW title.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those non-Irish competitors against him. If he's still champion come Saturday, so he has defended it in Wolverhampton, right? Am I right? Yeah.
So I think this goes back to our predictions from last night. I predicted that Danhausen would win. I didn't even consider this match when I predicted that Danhausen would win. I predicted based on the fact that he was contracted talent. You can't have him lose to Charles Crowley the night before. So our logic last night was that he might basically lost to Gene Money with progress the week beforehand. Yeah. So I would assume he's going to be Charles Crowley and then come into this, and Renzo Rose is going to be even more evil than this very evil, very nice Danhausen, who wished me a happy birthday when I turned 30 and offered me. He told me to have a bowl of birthday soup, which is very nice of him.
Very nice of him. Very.
It says Danhausen isn't winning, but you can't wait to see him. Like, he's not, like, saying that he's not winning. Like, he could. Like, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibilities.
Yeah, we're just making predictions, just spitballing. But I mean, I think it's the it'd be a different kind of match for Renzo, because like a lot of the time when he's done like Sky Sue Hottie or Tajiri and these kind of guys, he's had to be more of the comedic kind of element.
Hang on a second. That Scotty 2 Hottie match was 2.5 minutes long.
I know, it's brilliant though. It's absolutely incredible.
the entrance was 4 times longer than the actual match.
There's a lot of those kind of instances where he faced like more well-known, famous characters in the past, the present. A lot of the time, he's had to be the over-the-top gimmick. So in comparison to this now, he's against somebody who's way more over the top and completely out there, and he's going to have to be the straight man. So it's a different challenge for him. And he'd be more than up to it, and it'd be like he'll do something with the flowers, beat the piss out of Danhausen. There'll be a spot where Danhausen pours teeth because there's no rules against putting teeth in people's mouths lest we forget. There'll be a spot where the referee's down or distracted and Danhausen will punch him in the groin. It'd be really, really good, but I expect some sort of dastardly way where Renzo, I don't know, kicks him in the balls and rolls him up or something. I think this is perfect. I think this is the best Danhausen match of the entire weekend. Best Danhausen match of his European run, to be better than Gene Money. I think this is perfect booking in the way it should be.
I was just
And
about to say it lent so well to Danhausen that I think we need that. We spoke about contrast last night, and we need that serious, the serious person to play off the stupidity and hokiness and wild and wackiness of Danhausen. So Renzo absolutely not taking him serious in any way, shape, or form, and Danhausen doing anything within the realms of his quirkiness to kind of counteract Renzo being too serious. And we're also like, I think we'd be very silly if we think that we're not going to see the same.
Yeah, I was going to say
in
obviously.
some capacity. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out with Danhausen or came out to introduce him or did something along those lines. But yeah,
this to simplify terms, this is Miz versus R-Truth. Danhausen could be the stupid over the top character. Renzo is incredibly straightforward in his offense and his emoting in terms of playing the role of the Miz. So it's a very straightforward, but it's a perfect foil for each other.
Yeah. Clear saying people demanding Danhausen versus Bug there. Renzo is perfect. I agree, and I think if we look back to Gene Money against Danhausen in Progress, it didn't really stack up because we have two people trying to do a bit of comedy in there, and it just didn't. You need that someone in there that's serious and takes themselves too serious, which is what Renzo is, to counteract the hokiness of a Danhausen. Where I'm not saying that it doesn't work otherwise, but I think that it works a lot better when you have that contrasting factor. But yeah, like Renzo to retain, I think they potentially shot themselves in the foot with the Damo stuff. Obviously, that match was meant to be in September and has been moved forward. So that's potentially killing it. And Danhausen also having a match scheduled for Belfast the following day. So it kind of kills the result a little bit.
Who's he facing on Belfast?
For some reason, I have it was the fucking tag match 4-way. That wasn't stipulated, wasn't it? The one that didn't have, that was missing a sign in there somewhere. It was. I can't remember. Is it Dan Barry, Danhausen, Sam, and Session?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It doesn't look. I mean, the way they've kind of articulated it, looks like there's two matches put onto one post.
Yeah. But I'm presuming there's either it's either meant to be. I'm presuming it's a 4-way and that they're just missed the V in the middle. Yeah. Well, whatever. That match, that's the match that he has the next day. Name
and shame whoever did that editing.
But then Damo was like have a match against Renzo. So. I think fatal 4-way, but it's a weird 4-way. It is a weird 4-way. Again, it's we spoke about this last night. There's people that are booked, and it's a way of getting, presumably, to get people onto the card and to utilize the talent that they have available.
Yeah. Well, Damo isn't on this card for Saturday. A few other people, like Damon Corvin and Terry Thatcher, you mentioned earlier. There is people who aren't on this card. Is there anybody or any other matches? Joe always throws out other matches after we finish doing a podcast. So, are we expecting anything else, or is this the full card besides whatever Martina's advertised here, but she haven't actually said if she's having a match or not?
What Martina
versus
Martina against who, Mark?
Damo. Yeah, no, I'm spitballing because you assume that Damo will be on the Belfast show. He's on the Wolves show, obviously. So what's he doing in between? So it's just trying to figure something. I don't know. I'm not sure what other surprises you have. There might be for Martina. We were talking last night. They assume there's going to have some sort of female-based match, at least one on the Wolves card. We kind of hypothesized you either do a tag team where it's some sort of iteration of Martina and Millie McKenzie with each other or against each other, with partners are based around that. Or you have two separate matches where there's a Millie McKenzie match and there's a Martina match. So you'd wonder who would be the potential opponent for Martina on a show like this. You assume Debbie Keitel would appear on a show like this as well, given the nature of the event. Anita Vaughan, again, we were hypothesizing would likely appear at the Wolves show, given that it's a train right away from London. So it's hard to know. Really, really hard to know. And we're wondering what would carry over from Martina's change of attitude, perhaps, or change of behaviors toward, like last week at Progress show. would that be carried over into OTT? Would it be some sort of the beginning of something over this weekend, be it from Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? So it'd be very interesting the way it's been phrased as Session Moth Martinez appearing. So will she be in the ring with somebody? Will she be talking with somebody and then kick them in the groin or something? I don't know. Beat up Dennis.
She's appeared in the new merchandise, the Lads from the Flats merchandise, along with Paddy M. Like the 5 of them are on that. So maybe she'll be involved there some way with the BDE match. I'm not sure. It'd be a shame, she's the champion. Like she's not in the Wolves card and she's not advertised for a match in this card. So it'd be weird that she doesn't because.
It wouldn't surprise me if there's someone being brought in for a match.
Yeah.
Maybe a quick surprise appearance, someone from the UK. It wouldn't surprise me. The stadium.
Rebecca Knox.
It's not.
If you know, you know.
If she shows up, Mark, I will.
What would you do? What would you do?
Whatever you want.
Wine gums. There you are.
A packet of wine gums. You can wind your gums around this.
Jeez.
PG show, lads. Not a fucking PG show. Doesn't matter.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's a Cork thing. I thought your dad would have heard that before.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets brought in from the UK for this, though.
Yeah,
the stadium's nearly sold out. You don't need to advertise it. There's 8 matches on it.
Who'd bring it?
Claire wants Charles Crowley.
Nah.
Like, at the end, like, it's all well and good. So
I think he would get over huge in Ireland, but I'm not sure Joe Voldemort Cabray would like him. But don't get it. Well, I'm calling. I can't comment on anything, Joe Cabray. Ooh, we're friends.
It's a second time booking him.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be over. I don't think he's on this. If he was, he'd be on one of the other matches.
Is there other shows on the UK on Saturday? I know there's a big show for RevPro on Sunday.
There's a RevPro show on the Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything on the Saturday. But yeah, potentially that we see a Millie McKenzie or someone being brought in, or maybe we get Corey Zero.
There's been loads of people that have been brought in. There's been people that have been tried, like Hardy Hudson, Lizzie Evo, to bring in somebody like Ryo, who's obviously got a big kind of awareness in the UK at the minute from ICW, Progress, Rev Pro. She's kind of been here, there, and everywhere. There's Kanji. There's a load of different talents, the likes of
Lana Austin or something.
Yeah, or I don't know if you bring Lana Austin in. To be honest, I don't think. I wouldn't bring her into the OTT. To be honest, I think you bring one of the more high level talents who are playing with the likes of Eve or Rev Pro more regularly. Personally, that'd be my view. I mean, even in the past where they've had like completely underappreciated appearances like Miyu Yamashita, which is probably the best unsigned women's wrestler in the world, but in that show wearing the red cow. Something along those lines would be pretty cool.
Do we get a throwaway match? I'm not sure if Faye Scott is still wrestling. Potentially she travels with Speedball and just have a throwaway match in there. Potentially that's another option. Again, I don't know if she will be traveling with him, but if she is, the potential to go out and feed it to Martina in a quick.
Or minimum, she could replace one of the Aegis on commentary.
Which Aegis would you replace?
Which one?
I like Ango.
Does that mean you don't like Jamie?
I don't mind. I'm joking.
Hi, Jamie. That's we've talked about we'll talk more about the main event now. As we talked about, we think Barry's going to be Barry and Trent.
LJ Cleary and Nic Nemeth.
I was getting to that. Come on. I want to leave that to last. I just wanted to touch on Barry. If Barry wins, right? Do you see a long title and do you see him being champion for a long time?
No. I'd have him lose the next night.
Really?
The very next night.
Literally in Belfast?
Or minimum. Like if whatever he's doing in Belfast, say he's in like in a tag match, I'd have Dereiss come out and beat the piss out of him. Like, murder him. I know they'll probably do it with Corvin, but like, I want somebody who's realistic. I want somebody who's going to come out, like, Dereiss loses in Wolves. He's in a 4-way of the GN Championship tonight. He's the next person out of all the people featured in this card across the weekend who could possibly get signed by any promotion in America or Japan. He's the one who's the most versatile and can do the most. I want to see him be vicious. I want to see him I want to see him come out and beat the piss out of Barry on Sunday in Belfast if he's champion. That's how you end the show. And I think the very next show, you do video packages, you do whatever it is, and Barry's not just doing packages where he's calling Joe a cunt while having a cup of coffee. Like, he's doing serious things, and he's really like pissed off. Like, you ruined my weekend. I was there. I became champion, and now you messed up my weekend. I was in hospital. All that kind of stuff. And Dereiss is like explaining in video packages like what his gripes are, how many times he's had championship opportunities against Haskins and whatnot up in Belfast, how close he's been. Then getting to have it in his hometown match against Nic Nemeth, losing to a world champion there. That's going to make him realize, like, no, this is what I want next. I need to go above and beyond. And in the very next show, when's the next show scheduled, Colin? I assume start of September kind of time, is it?
There's no main OTT show announced after this one. The next one is the Sheriff Street shows at the end of September, but they're probably non-canon.
Okay, so whatever it is, I mean, if it's non-canon, the next canon show, assuming at this event, Joe will probably publicize the next event if he has something scheduled. Like, I think that would make the most sense when to suddenly announce it during this show or what. I would have the very next event on Belfast. He closes with the next show is going to be this date, and it's going to be Dereiss versus Barry for whatever it is, and Dereiss goes in there and wins clean, and then Barry's on the chase. Barry's he's going to take it more seriously. He's kind of got serious at the very end. Colin was talking about Barry being only serious at the end of this run, not being serious after Moxley. Then he's suddenly got to reevaluate things. He's really got to chase. He's got to earn it. And Dereiss is growing in stature. He's becoming a different type of champion. That's what I would do.
Alex is saying in the chat he's pretty sure the 6-man tag on the Wolf show is a Money in the Bank. So maybe Flex will win and cash in. Is that
no, it was going to be into a 3-way, which is going to have a future shot, is what we were discussing last night.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an actual Money in the Bank or whatever, or if it's just a future shot that they're going to get. I don't think it's been specified. If it is a Money in the Bank, then that kind of changes things. But as far as I know, it's just a future championship opportunity, which isn't going to be like an anytime, anywhere. It'd be a scheduled opportunity. That's like the only thing is that there's nothing for Barry after Scrapper if he wins. And that's the only thing that has me thinking why you're gonna go in. There's nothing worse than having a face champion with no substance for them. There's nothing worse. So if you have that crowning moment of having Barry winning, a great moment in the stadium, yes, but then what? You know, he's after overcoming adversity. He's after overcoming everything Joe's throwing at him, everything the draw's throwing at him. He's beating Sam, he's beating Trent. Then what? You know, what does he go into a load of nothing matches? So that's why I keep coming back to and leaning towards Sammy winning or Trent retaining.
No, I still don't. Yeah, that's why I think. That's what I think.
Nothing else there.
That's why I think the beauty of having the next day, because he gets his moment, but the very next day it's suddenly switched. I assume there's something in the works for that, because I think the whole Sammy Barry match is the whole purpose is to kind of build another layer and be taken seriously for the Trent match, and it ties up a few loose ends with the draw and whatnot as well. I can't not see Barry winning on Saturday, and then something big not happening on Sunday. I assume I just have in my head now it's going to be Dereiss beating the piss out of him on Sunday, and I think you can do Corbin, but I personally would think that's kind of.
You could do the same thing with LJ though as well.
But LJ is going to be back in Japan doing rotation.
And you bring him back in for the next big match. Okay. Which will be a championship match. So I don't know.
I think Dereiss is kind of the one who's readily available, as we were chatting about last night. He's your next, considered your local talent who's available, still going to be on your doing every show and every shot. That's I have had it in my head ever since last night. Yeah.
Scott said it's going to be Barry versus Cabray. That will extend the title run.
Cabray. Damn Cabray.
Make himself champion.
Yeah, he spoke about that last night.
Oh, really?
You know what? Catch up today, Jerry. No.
What? No, I have a job, Mark. I have to work. I have to drive a crane. I can't watch podcasts when I'm driving a crane. I can only edit them.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't think Joe has it in him to wrestle.
No.
That was a comment. That was a comment in the chat there.
Alex win. I don't think Joe has it in him to wrestle. Yeah, be watching this day of season. Just Avada Kedavra.
Does that make Barry Potter?
Hey.
You're not a wizard. Uranus is still in the chat. He thinks Be Cool has a decent reign, but doesn't probably drop the title in like 3 months to Dereiss or Demo or Jay or somebody like that.
But like, what's a decent reign? Like if
3 months,
but if he wins, right? So if he wins the title at Scrapper and there's nothing coming out of Sunday and he's just the champion now, what's a decent reign if there's no substance? He's just going to be fed some randomers for the next few months.
Where's the heat?
Like that to me isn't a decent reign. That's just the champion is on the show taking on this person and he's gonna retain there and then he's gonna come up against a big match and then he's gonna lose it.
That's always the issue with face champions, though, isn't it? It's...
Yeah, but I mean, it's more like this is a bit different. This feels more like obviously it's more like Mick Foley becoming champion. It's not like Daniel Bryan. It's a bit more like Eric Young when they kind of tried to recreate Daniel Bryan and TNA back in the early 2010s. This is like a feel-good moment situation that I think Barry wins, but then it's taken away almost immediately.
Uranus is saying that's what he said, WrestleMania 9 style, where Hogan comes in and beats Yokozuna kind of thing.
Jesus, if that
Joe
happens,
comes in and
that's not going to happen.
Barry with the salt in his eyes, you go, you got him, Joe, you got him.
You may as well just shut the doors and never run a show again.
It mightn't be a bag of salt, but it might be a bag of something white substance somebody has in the crowd.
What would that be? What are you suggesting?
I don't know, flour or baking soda or something.
What are you suggesting? Cocaine, is it?
Flour,
right.
No? Yeah, why not? I mean, you tell me somebody would have a bag in their pocket.
I have no doubt. Yeah. It's the end of civilization.
Dublin on a Saturday night.
Jeez,
No way, never. Before we get into the last match, the future of the draw is also on the line. What happens to all 4 members going forward, do you think? Do any of them do anything?
Charlie Sterling gets every belt under the sun and becomes champion of the world because he's the fucking business. If he's fit and healthy.
If is he fit and healthy? Is he cleared? Has he been announced that he's cleared?
Did you watch this video during the week?
No, I probably didn't. Oh.
Jerry.
Come on, like I can watch everything.
Man. Keep up, man.
I have a life. Come on.
He's cleared, Jerry. He's cleared and ready to go.
See that? See that? Look.
Who are you kidding?
Everybody.
Right. Yeah, I think Flex. He's got world.
Claire said the lads from the flat will have some snow or whatever you want to call it.
Where's that? You're referring that like everyone from the flats does drugs?
It's character assassination, Claire. I'd withdraw that.
You can tell that to the lads on Saturday.
I don't think Alex Wynn saying I'm very surprised that Jay is cleared. I don't think Jay is cleared as of yet. I think that's something you could build to eventually with. Would you do maybe you do Sammy beating up Barry on Sunday then, and then you have I don't know Charlie. You do some sort of Jay and Barry versus Sammy and Charlie for a while. Do some sort of iteration around that. I don't know. Like you're trying to think like where do people go to draw then? Like what makes sense for them? Like Jay, we assume is going to be more sympathetic to Barry's cause because he's no longer a Targaryen or whatever his previous name was, and he's now back to being Jay. So he's suddenly a good guy and he's sympathetic again. Flex, he's on World of Sport and he's got a few other things coming up as well based over in the UK. So you wonder what storyline and narrative wise is going to make sense for those 3 people now.
I think Jay goes into a big singles push, He's probably going to be built probably to the main event over the next year, would be my opinion. Charlie, God knows with him, he's capable of anything. And whether he has the time or wants to be pushed into that main event picture in OTT is probably the thing that's there, because he's been around a long time. We know he's capable, but like, and it's the same in the UK. Like, he's wrestling in a tag team in Progress when like everyone like slates him as one of the best wrestlers in Europe. Then like, why isn't he wrestling as it? So maybe it's a thing that he doesn't want it. So we don't know.
Kidnap his children.
Sammy, Sammy presumably goes missing for a while and reevaluates, probably to come back with a massive pop somewhere, or run in randomly, would be my guess. And Flex is now living in the UK. We're probably going to see a little bit less of him. He'll probably be brought over a couple of times a year, and he has a visa for the States, so he's going to be touring around there as well. So I don't expect we're going to see Flex every show. We're probably going to see him, maybe 2 to 5 times a year.
Scott says Lemo's character is literally a drug dealer. Alex says Engo is said on commentary for Sanity's show that he is cleared. I'm presuming this means Jay, or
I guess he means Jay. I don't know how, like, if he's cleared. I don't know how, to what extent, because there's being cleared that you can, like, your function has healed, but or your injury has healed, but like, then it's like, are you able to fight?
Rehab it.
The next, so there's being cleared to get back into doing and compete, but how active can you actually be? So
Sammy has his Okada 2018 moment and hangs out with the Sam with a big tag title win moment.
That's really niche. That's really niche.
Who is Uranus? Tell us your name.
I thought it was Roy Brady last night, but apparently it wasn't. Roy Brady wouldn't know what Okada in 2018 is anyway.
Uranus, are you going to be at the show? You are going to be at the show on Saturday. Are you just going to be walking around with a planet on your face or an ass on your face, or are we going to know who you are?
You have to ask Uranus for the answer.
We're all waiting with bated breath for Uranus to respond here now.
Put all those negative comments behind you.
So we move on to...
Anyway, so on to the big match of the show outside of the main event, obviously. It's LJ Cleary and Nic Nemeth, formerly Dolph Ziggler. Nick is, obviously, we said earlier, he's on the stand-up show. He's going to be on the Wolverhampton show as well. So a big moment for LJ here, coming back from Japan. What do you think of this? Obviously, we're probably able to predict what's going to happen to it, but Mark, what's your thoughts on Nick coming over, first of all?
It's pretty cool, yeah. Like, he's had a funny run since he left WWE. Like, he's I think there was a huge expectation from a few places. Like, TNA built it up. It was like the biggest thing that's ever happened. It was like the signing's gonna like shock the world, and like then he appeared, and you're like, well, we thought it was him. Like he appeared in New Japan, which was really cool. The way he kind of debuted, appearing with Dave Finlay for that new global title, which is the same name as the Noah title. Funny enough, it was a bit weird. He became the global champion, then dropped it relatively quickly, and then he did 1 or 2 shots in terms of the New Japan Strong events over in the US, but then was kind of dropped from the scene from then. And he's brought into AAA and very quickly given the Mega Championship over there. But then they're trying to rehash their 2011 feud with Alberto Del Rio. And he's doing more shows in AAA around their Triple Mania events with him for that. So it's a funny one. Like, it's kind of on, even like in TNA, he was brought in with pomp and circumstance, but like TNA booked like a bag of shite. Like, I don't know if you watched their latest pay-per-view, the opening match was Matt Hardy versus Fandango. Like, and it was fucking putrid. Like, there's a load of really dreadful stuff. But there's like a handful of good things, and the handful of good things are the ones that get cherry-picked and put on NXT. Everything else is dog shit. Like, even in that 6-man, like, he looked like the 3rd or 4th best wrestler in there. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not intentionally now. Like, he is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and people have different motivations at different stages of their careers in terms of what they're looking to do. He is making an effort in terms of making all the shots. He is turning up to more and more independent shows. And I think, like, given the kind of the arena this is, the kind of the spectacle that the Scrappermania is going to be this weekend, I reckon he's going to go all out for this TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And the fact that he's going to be in there with LJ, he's probably going to be forced to fucking work at a certain tempo and a certain pace. And given that, even some of the small, like, he's really good friends with Matt Cardona, one of his best friends. So there's going to be probably be an expectation on his end, having, if he's communicating with one of his best friends around who he's going over to Ireland, faces a guy called LJ Cleary. There's going to be an expectation around that. And 2,200 fans in a jam-packed arena is going to be bigger than any independent show you see in the UK, Europe, US for a long time to come. So it's going to be an incentive for people to put their working boots on. So I do expect a lot. I think this will be high tempo, high pace, a lot of near falls, and Nic Nemeth to come out on top for a long-winded answer.
Alex is saying last week on TNA when Nemeth said he'll defend the belt on any company. He's hoping he may defend it on Scrapper. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Or
wouldn't be surprised if it was announced in the ring. Yeah. Like let's be perfectly honest here. He's the TNA champion. He's probably not going to lose this match in any regard. And I did have this discussion with a couple of people when he did win the championship. And it's like, oh well, that kills the result. And it's like, or when we're saying about the championship being put on the line, it's like, oh, but that will kill the result, because like if the championship's being put on it, then LJ is obviously not going to win. But I think the result is already killed to an extent, you know. So why not? Why not have that? We had a TNA World Championship match on our show, and potentially TNA pick up some of that or show the clips from the show, and you know, it's just that added thing. I think having Nemeth on the card is great for if when we look outside of the bubble that we're in with us fans who go to a lot of shows and watch a lot of wrestling for a casual audience. Like at the end of the day, he was a 2-time WWE champion. He was around WWE for 20 years, you know, so it brings in a lot of casuals. They know who he is, and a lot of people are going to see him and to meet him as well, because his meet and greets are sold out. So there's that aspect of it, that just to have him on the show in any capacity is pretty big, and I think he is potentially the biggest independent out there at the moment. I don't know if there's anyone out there who is bigger than him on the scene, who has done as much as he has done on a global scale, you know. So to get him on the card is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I know when he was announced, people were speculating what match is he going to get. A lot of people were thinking that he was going to get Trent. Will it be Sammy? A few people did say LJ as well, and I think the majority are happy with LJ being that match, and I think we're going to see a great showcase of wrestling. Like LJ is the MVP of Irish wrestling, great technical in-ring wrestler. I think we're going to see a very good, well thought out, well told storyline match in there. I'm really looking forward to it.
Has LJ's game changed since he's come back? I know I wasn't at the Sanity show. He was on that, right? Wasn't he? Was he on the Sanity show? Yeah.
The show previous to that, the one you were at.
It was the Supremacy show.
I haven't seen him wrestle since he's come back.
So this the thing with LJ, right? LJ's game is always changing, and if you've watched them over the last 5 years, you know that his game is always changing. LJ is one of these people who goes out and he travels, and he goes to different seminars all over Europe and works with different people. Goes over to the UK, to Wales, and trains with a lot of people over there, and he brings back a lot of stuff, and that's, as a coach, that's what he was doing, and then he's able to add that into his repertoire and then pass that on to the people that he's coaching as well. So if you actually look at LJ, if you go back and look at an LJ match from 2019, then look at an LJ match from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, you will see the changes in those matches as he goes. Now, he usually keeps the same type of style. He has adopted a bit of strong style into his game the last year. He's gone a bit tougher, but yeah, you can see that his moveset kind of, apart from his signature moves, his moveset has been altering year on year, and that's due to what he's learning. So yeah, it is a case that he's picking up stuff all the time, so you never know what he's going to come back with. I haven't seen enough of him to know what he's changed in his game and what he's going to bring back this time from Japan. But I'm sure he will whip out a few new moves that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Nic is one of the best sellers. Like, he can sell a move pretty much better than most people.
He was the litmus test on WWE.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot. Like he was the guy for a long time that people were being put in against to see, or working programs with, to see if they can go. He was that litmus test on that mid card for a lot of people. So
your favorite Braun Breaker couldn't go when you went with him.
No, because he should.
Yeah, they are. That's the
yeah, so like we know, like Nic has said this himself. He said it a few years back, that he was the guy, and he probably, to his own detriment, what we said about Speedball earlier on, he probably became too good at being that person, and that's why he kept getting overlooked, because we need him to be that person for these people coming through to enhance them up to the next level instead of enhancing himself up, So but yeah, like we know Nic can go, and he's gonna have a hell of a match with LJ.
Well, it's going to be a hell of a show. We've gone through everything that's been advertised so far. If Joe decides to advertise more stuff after we finish recording, fuck you, Joe. You always do.
Fuck you, Joe.
Fuck you. Fuck
say,
him.
Say, Colin. Say it. There you go.
Flip this out, put it up. We will see everybody on Saturday. Rain or shine, if you're standing out the queue, make sure you bring an umbrella.
Tomorrow.
Oh yes, tomorrow. What's tomorrow? No, you're back. Yourself and Colin are back tomorrow for the Belfast preview. I'll be working overtime till 8:00, so I won't be able to jump on. I may jump on if I'm.
Jerry's going for a sleep on the crane.
Hey, I do not get paid to sleep often.
Just nap.
You get to a certain age, you need afternoon naps. I'm sorry, lads. It's going to happen to everybody.
Happened yesterday. Was great.
It happens every year.
Yeah.
Lovely. Best thing ever. Even if it's for 5 minutes, it's great. Anyway, like we said, Colin and Mark will be back tomorrow night for the Belfast preview. If you're going to the comedy show on Thursday, make sure you enjoy it. It should be a great night. Anybody going to Wolverhampton, best of luck. Hope you get back on time on Saturday morning to make it to Scrappermania in the National Stadium. Thanks to everybody in the comments for joining the chat and joining the live stream. Hopefully we'll be doing more of these, maybe after shows, before shows, and whatever else we can think of beforehand. But as always, lads, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you. The lads will see you tomorrow night.
Cheers, guys. See you then.
Bye.